Oh, he's going to actually die right there. It's a little too bad, but he did so much damage right now. Let's check the income tab. It's probably even worse than it was before. So Tarson now behind by 14 harvesters. He's not in a good position at all. So Fuzer with complete saturation here. This looks like he's going to go one base for this game. He's done so much economic damage. He's well aware of that and knows he's lost nothing. Oh, Tarson, wow, getting a little too closer to that Raven. Took so much damage right there without getting any kills. And we'll see if he's going to use this Hellion to do some scouting. Maybe he's going to look for some expos. Looks like he's rallying up some expos right there. Just going to do some checking around. So Tarson in trouble. He actually has that expo rebuilt in his base, and he's making tanks with siege. So we may see Tarson play defensive here, and he's going to maybe rely on Fuzer to get a little bit out of position. Maybe take one or two too many tank shots and lose the advantage. So Banshee in space. He needs to get that Raven and Viking over there, wherever those things are. They're way out of position, way over here. And that Banshee's going to go pick out a lot of Marines. He does have enough for a scan in about 7 seconds, but it's going to be too late. He's lost so many Marines already. Wow, this thing's up to 19 kills. That is one badass Banshee. So quickly running away, seeing that Raven coming in, decides to pull out. So he has quite a few army right now, so let's check out this army right now. Ooh, actually we're going to have a drop in the back of his base here. If he can position those siege tanks and get him in siege mode before that drop comes, he can totally destroy Fuzer's base. Fuzer is basically strictly Marines and Hellions with, one or two, with a Viking and a Raven and a couple Banshees. So as far as army composition goes, I think Tarson has the better army and tanks in a great position for siege, covering the majority of his mineral line. And Fuzer up here at the, wonder what he's doing. He has one SCV in there. Maybe he's going to drop that sucker off and then build an expansion there. So stemming, I'm not sure what he did there. If he killed him, he might have actually killed a Banshee right there, as I don't see any other units around, and he must have stemmed for some reason. So Tarson moving out with this expansion is going to go completely defensive right now. He's going to have to rely on those tanks, just keep him alive for the time being. He's actually caught up in worker count right now. You can check it out, 34 to 36. So Fuzer has kind of lost his lead, stopped making units for a while. So let's check the army food. Actually got a drop up here, and looks like he didn't manage to lose anything. He dropped and took a ton of damage on that medevac. He needs to pull back. He's going to lose that Raven. Oh no, he might lose that Viking. Oh wow, not paying attention, loses that Viking. That's a little bit of a careless mistake here. We may see Tarson pull one of these siege tanks back, put him back here a little bit closer. He has no units on gas right now. He has quite a bit of gas, so that's understandable. Probably pulled him off here to do some repair. So he has this medevac, and he is positioning this expansion. But anyways, let me check that food count I was looking at earlier. So 109 food for Fuzer, so he does have a higher army count, at least food-wise, maybe not as tech-wise, and Tarson at 94, so slowly catching up here. Looks like Fuzer has lost that little bit of an advantage. Actually, he had a huge advantage earlier with that tremendous SCV kill count. So I'm totally going to be surprised if Tarson manages to come back in this game. So coming in for a drop, and he's going to just drop right on top of those tanks. Wow, he's losing units. Oh my gosh, that was a horrendous drop. Wow. Fuzer completely losing 2 medevacs full of Marines. Wow, that was a horrible mistake right now. So Fuzer is behind. We're going to see if Tarson decides to push out with his army. He's got so many tanks. He's got 7, actually counting wrong, 6 tanks out. And he's going to run into Fuzer right now. He's going to get control of the Selnaga Tower maybe. And we're going to have a fight right here. Tarson with the far superior army upgrades. I know he's a 1-1, so Fuzer does have a 1-1 upgrade. And on the retreat. So Fuzer going for another expo. And completely saturated right here. He needs to put a couple guys back on gas and build some guys over here for getting his rally point and building a ton of SCV or a ton of supply depots. Not wanting to get supply blocked anytime soon, so pushing out, just pushing Fuzer around the map. And he's, oh man, he cannot lose another medevac. That'd be huge at this point. So those tanks sieging up, and wow, doing a ton of damage to those Marines, even with that nerf on the tanks. Still doing a crazy amount of damage to those Marines. So a drop here in the main. Wow, he completely took Tarson for a loop. Abused that immobility on this map, this positioning. Wow, this is actually great play by Fuzer at this point. So just dropping there, takes out that command center before he can even think about it. He's using so many supply depots. And in turn, Tarson's deciding he wants to push out. Oh, that planetary fortress just finishes and takes out a whole lot of Marines right there. 4 dead Marines. And he's slowly going to be able to take out this planetary fortress. He got 11 kills right there. So sort of trading bases, but Fuzer's getting the better hand of the deal, taking out the main with most of the tech buildings. And Tarson just getting a planetary fortress with a couple SCVs, but in turn losing a big amount of his army. So that play right there by Fuzer was so great. He kind of baited Tarson around the map down here, and then whenever he got over here in a position, he just sort of hopped up in his medevac, dropped over here, just a quick drop, and Tarson was like, well, I can't do that. And he's like, well, I guess I'm totally screwed. So pushing in here, trying to take out these bunkers. I'm not quite sure about this play. He's losing 4 or 5 Marines and pushed straight into that. I think he could have just done without that and completely ignored it. So Fuzer's going for a straight up base race. As far as buildings go, taking down these structural rocks in the back. Tarson has like 1 or 2 supply depots here and 1 here. And there are no units at Tarson's main, so Tarson is in trouble. And but Tarson does have quite a few units, but these planetary fortresses are slowing down Tarson's push. So pushing in here, a bunch of SCVs are going to come in and try and take these tanks out. Actually, they're not doing anything. They're just running straight on by. They're getting the hell out of there. And they're probably going to go rebuild the base somewhere. So Fuzer in here going to work on taking out this orbital command. Tarson really needs to fly that thing away, at least get it off the ground and start flying somewhere. So he's building an expo down here. So this is going to just come down to a straight up base race. Tarson does have tanks, but stimmed Marines with medevacs with lots and lots of damage. And this is probably just going to come down to an old-fashioned base race. Fuzer at this point does have the bigger base, so... Oh, and a Banshee is out. Oh, that could be good game right there with that Banshee. Tarson has nothing to do with that, and he, of course, GG's after that Banshee comes into play. So, good game by both players right there. And that was a very nice move by Fuzer, pulling Tarson out of his base, and then using those medevacs to just quickly drop over here. And Tarson was out of position, and that was just a really great game. So I'm going to cast game number 3 next.